Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait a couple of seconds so that you can join the last session of day one of the Mental Health in Journalism Summit, the last session in English, because in a few minutes, we'll be starting the Spanish-speaking block. As you may remember from the opening session today, we are hosting this summit in two languages, and there's every day a whole block in Spanish. Because this morning in the opening session, we weren't able to bring in a very important voice due to technical issues, and we want to bring her with us now. Let me just tell you a little bit about her in case you want to stay, and this part will be recorded because it is very important that we have her voice in. And today, October 8th, is 1 year and 1 day into the anniversary of the Gaza conflict, which has killed over 43,000 people and at least 128 journalists and media workers. We thought it was very important to make a point about the amazing work that our colleagues are doing in Gaza and reporting on Gaza. And we have with us via audio one of the journalists that has been covering the war in the past year. It's Youmna ElSayed. She works for Al Jazeera, and I would love to bring her on stage. Again, she's just via audio, but hopefully we can hear you. Youmna, you're on stage now.
Hi, Mar. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm really sorry I wasn't able to make it in the previous opening session.
Don't worry. We really appreciate you making the time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Youmna, really, we want to stand in solidarity with all of you who have been covering the war and doing this amazing work for a year. It's been 1 year into this terrible war and this terrible conflict. We wanted to hear a little bit more from you to see how you personally are managing to keep up and keep going, because you haven't stopped in the past year.
Well, Mar, I can't.
Okay, Youmna, we lost you. Oh, we lost you. Just hold on.
I'm back.
Okay, you're back now. Oh, I don't know what's happening. Let me just.
I'm actually trying to open my camera.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. We hear you fine.
I'm trying to open my camera now.
Okay, let's try and let's see if it works.
Okay.
Yes, we're seeing you. So let me take off the photo, and that way we can see you. So we hear you, Youmna.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. And tell us, we'd love to hear a little bit more from you, and especially how you're managing to keep up.
It's been an indescribable year, honestly. Thank you. And I can't really tell you that after coming out of Gaza about 10 months now that I have left Gaza and I come out of Gaza, that it has been any easy.
Well, the connection is not working very well. I think that we're just going to have to see whether we can get Youmna at some other point and see if we can get her voice and experience. She's doing all the best to join us. She's no longer working from Gaza. She's outside of Gaza, as she was saying when we lost her connection. She's back. Let me see if we can bring her back. And if not, we'll just have to find another time.
Hello.
So Youmna, we lost you there, but okay, it seems good. So you were saying the last thing we heard is that you left Gaza about 10 months ago.
I left Gaza about 10 months ago, and unfortunately, it hasn't been any easier since I have left.
I'm sorry to hear that. What do you think the international community can do to support you and your colleagues, those of you who are in exile and those who are still covering the war on the ground?
Well, first of all, the fact that a war in Gaza for Palestinian journalists in particular isn't like any other place in the world. Palestinian journalists in Gaza are subjected to being targeted from the very first beginning of any war. Our media offices are being targeted and bombed, our families are being threatened. It's very difficult for you as a journalist and as a human being later on to live with all these uh, thoughts, memories, and fears that you have lived within for a very long time. And the fact that this is a reality for any Palestinian journalist in Gaza is that you don't see it anywhere else in the world, and the international community really needs to act towards this. We as journalists, labeled with our press vests and press helmets, we need that to be a guarantee for our safety, our life that we risk every time we go out to the field to report in places of bombardments to cover those events. It's not easy, let alone the scenes that we see as human beings, as mothers, the scenes of killed children, bombed homes, bombed people in pieces, injuries. These are not normal scenes for you as a human being to see on a daily basis with that intensity, like we have seen in Gaza. And yet, every single day we went out to report, we went out with that constant fear that our own children, our own loved ones and families are not safe at home because they are targeted because we are simply journalists reporting from the field. This is a trauma, honestly, that I believe that is, we can't even call it PTSD. Like I can consider myself that it's a post trauma now of everything that I have seen and lived in the war, because the feelings are constant and they are recurrent and they keep happening. And the fact that I felt that I was a threat to my children's lives and I was a reason of fear for them is not a feeling that I can get over as a mother easily. It's not a feeling that I can just abandon and forget about and and get treated off. It's something that is always going to live with me. So it's very important that at least, like every other journalist in the world, doing this legitimate job and duty and responsibility and risking their lives to be protected under those international laws and conventions that were designated for this kind of protection.
Hmm. Thank you, Yomna, for speaking so openly about what you and your colleagues are going through. It's hard to hear that even being in exile, it's still troubling for you to be covering this terrible conflict. Do you have any? There's a lot of journalists covering the war from exile. So, do you have any recommendations or anything that is helping you go through your day to day that you think can be useful to others who are doing similar work?
I think it's always useful to speak out, and it's very difficult to get to that point where you are able to speak out, you are able to explain what you have been through, what you have gone through to others, because it's a very complicated situation. At the beginning, when I came out of Gaza, I felt that I did not have the adequate words to describe my feelings, to describe what I've been through, to describe what I've seen, what my colleagues have been through, and that was the toughest period of time that passed on me, finding those adequate words to explain, to express myself. And I found that honestly, the only therapy that I was able to help myself with in trying to recover of everything that I've been through is through speaking out about it, sharing it with other people, explaining to them what the reality of these situations and these conditions and these feelings really look like. It's not going to make it go, it's not going to make it disappear, but it is in a way going to make you able to some
Okay, we lost the connection there again.
in some way able to deal with these all these challenges inside you that you've been through, and
Thank
that
you.
is very important.
Thank you, Yumna, for mentioning the importance of receiving support and the importance of speaking up. It already is, it goes a long way, as you're saying. And this summit, the Mental Health in Journalism Summit, is all about that, about getting the global community together so that we feel supported, that we feel that we're all in this together. Um, I would like to ask you whether there's anything else you would like to share with our colleagues who are listening or those who will be watching the recording later, um, about this specific topic that we're talking about today, mental health, and how can mental health be supported under those extreme circumstances?
I think it's very important that um, we like we do speak out, as I was saying, to find that kind of support and help from other people who we could feel that they could be relatively um, understanding to our situations, because not everyone is going to understand the situation that you're in, and this just applies to every single mental health problem that a person has, and they differ a lot. Even in terms of journalists, every single journalist has their own mental health difficulty or challenge, but it's very important to find that that right person or group of people that can relate to your difficulty, to your challenge, and help you and support you in getting over that challenge or these difficulties and these challenges, because you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. It's a very difficult task. It's draining, and it really um, it takes a lot of your mental and physical energy, and feeling that no, nobody is going to understand and nobody is going to be able to help me is the biggest mistake, to live in that feeling alone. Yes, you will find other people who will understand and who will help you to some extent, even if they have not been through exactly what you have been through, but to some extent they will be able to help you, and that even a little bit of help, a little bit, anything that can make you feel better, even a little bit, will help you go on and will help you recover from your trauma.
Thank you so much, Yomna, for making time for this. We appreciate, we know that you've been busy. She's been running around all day with technical troubles, and you've still made the time to join us and share this important experience deep from the heart. And it's so important what you said about the importance of understanding that you're not alone. So we're going to be talking a lot about that tomorrow in the summit. It's a day when we're going to be talking about we're on it, what are the solutions being done, and peer support and peer-to-peer support is going to be one of the topics. So thank you, Yumna. I hope
Thank,
I could give you a hug. I'm giving you a hug like this through the computer, a big kiss, and all the best.
thank you
Let
so
us know how we can, the global community can be of support under these difficult circumstances. Thank you.
thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So that was a last minute addition due to technical circumstances that we had this morning, but amazing contribution from Yuna so that we could hear her direct experience from covering the war directly on the ground and also in exile. There are many journalists having to do their work in exile or under extreme circumstances right now. And that's actually going to be the topic of our next session, which is going to be in Spanish, because we're closing up the sessions in English with this testimony from Yumna. And in a few minutes, we'll be starting the part in Spanish, talking about Venezuela and Mexico, and how can you do work in those countries, especially with the latest things that have happened in those countries, the latest news with the latest elections and all the violence. So, how can we work under these difficult circumstances with violence? Well, that's coming up next in Spanish, also in YouTube in about 10 minutes' time. So, hoping to see you there if you want to practice your Spanish. And if you don't know Spanish, don't speak Spanish, hoping to see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central European time. We'll be actually starting to talk about solutions. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how we can have a positive mindset in all the circumstances that we are dealing with as journalists. Thank you so much. And a big kiss to all of you. Bye bye.